Well, my husband, whole life was a general contractor. Well, he's still a licensed general contractor, but that was his life, construction. Person that worked with his hands, doing a number of things, building homes as well as renovating homes. So that's his true love. And then when he turned 60, he started having problems with his sight, where he noticed his sight was starting to deteriorate. Long story short, in that medical side of eye care, upon noticing it, after that, within 9 months to 12 months, both his eyes were totally gone. He lost complete sight in both eyes. When that happened, of course, his construction business, we had to downsize everything because now it was going into a totally new lifestyle change. And then he started to fall into this depression. So, of course, being the concerned wife, I then started researching the different places that was available for the blind to be able to go get training and so forth, and come to find out there's very, very few places. There was a lighthouse in Chicago, which is 45 to an hour away from where we are in Gary. And then there's another place in Chicago, I don't know the name of it off the top of my head, but then there's Bosma, which is here in Indianapolis. And from there, he was able to get Tony approved to go to Bosma for training. So he went to Bosma for training and did all of his training, finished his 6-month program. And I tell you, Bosma is a company that I truly, truly thank God that they are here and they were there then, because him approaching his training and being around other like individuals in terms of the commonality of being blind was actually a breath of fresh air for him. It gave him hope that his life didn't end, because at that point he felt as though his life had ended. He became useless because he wasn't able to do the things that he loved to do so much in the construction world. But then Bosma was able to show him how he could continue to do his lifelong love, which is construction, in a different way. So once that was done, it opened up a whole new array of doors and possibilities for him that gave him the confidence to say that I can go on. I don't have to stop living. I can go on. So they adapted his love, which is the construction, into a way that he was able to continue on the administrative side. So he's still doing that today. And because of that, his disparity and the fact that there was nothing available, once he graduated from Bosma, we got back home, and he had all these life skills he had just learned and was taught at Bosma, but nowhere to implement them because there was nothing available in terms of outside the house of social aspect, because my husband's a very social person. We were used to being not separate, but separate as far as the things that we did in life. And now we're at home together and we're like 24 hours. It's like, this is not going to work. Because he's a more social person and I'm a little more subdued. And it's like, okay, we have to do something here. You need someone to talk with, to communicate with. So, maybe we can do something. I don't know, open up a social center or something. So that went on, that idea came out at that point. And about 6 months later, he says, well, maybe we need to consider this social thing or opening up some type of center for the blind community to come together. There was a reason for it, because at first when we discussed it, it was we thought, good idea. But then we kind of just put it back on the back burner for a few months. But then the desire of doing it more and more came to focus of, this is really something that we need to consider, not just for ourselves, but for others that are blind and visually impaired. So long story short, we were looking for a space. My son is in the construction field also, and my son met a gentleman out at a local home improvement store, and they were talking at the checkout counter. So one thing led to the other, and this gentleman had just purchased a building and had no idea what he was going to do with it. So it was like, my son said, well, you know, my mom and dad are looking for a location because they want to open up a blind social center. So the idea sparked with the gentleman that owned the building. So he called us, and we talked, and he gave us the keys that very same day that we met. We've now been open a year. We had our first year anniversary August 21st this year. And and my husband now is, he's, I don't want to say, little famous in his own right, because all of our patrons at our center is so grateful that the center is there, because it gives them a place to come to, a place to call their own, in terms of being able to have a location to go to meet other individuals that they can socialize with, that they can plan with, because we do not just socialize, we do offer light training in different areas that the patrons are interested in doing, such as we do Braille training, light Braille training, and then we do keyboarding. We teach them how to become familiar with the keyboard so they can go on the computer and surf the net, learn how to surf the net for different things that they may want, such as ordering different products for themselves through independent living aids and the other supply companies.
Well, I am a four-stage cancer survivor. On last year, when I was going through aggressive chemotherapy, the doctors felt that my body needed a rest, and we were going to rest my body for 4 weeks. Being the type of person that I am, very outgoing and just like to go places and being all over the place, that wasn't a good thing for me to have 4 weeks without anything to do. So I had to find something to do. As far as my blindness is concerned, I have no vision in my left eye, and I have a peephole in my right eye, right in the middle, no peripheral vision. And sometimes my peephole closes down where I'm completely blind. Well, I'm kind of stubborn. It took a long time for me to grasp the fact that I was blind, I needed help. And what made me do it was I gotten very comfortable with running into walls, and it became a habit, and it was okay until one day I ran into one wall, and the wall won. It knocked me out, and literally I saw stars. You know, you see the stories, you see the cartoons when people get knocked out and you see stars. Well, I saw those stars. That made me know that I needed help for me to be able to navigate my life. Going through the chemotherapy, and when they found out I had this other tumor which was located behind my eye, that kind of like made me not want to live. And because I had been doing this for 15 years, going through chemotherapy, radiation, and I just didn't want to do it anymore. And then I was getting these little signs like it was the end for me. But God said no, I still had a purpose. Well, when the doctors told me I had to relax from the chemotherapy, and I had these 4 weeks, I had to come up with something that I could do with myself that I wouldn't get in trouble. So I called my friend who works at Bosma, and I affectionately call her my shrink. I said, you know what, I need something to do in these 4 weeks. Otherwise, I'm going to be in trouble, or I'm going to cause somebody else some trouble. She told me that I should contact the Blairs in Gary, Indiana, who had just opened a center on last year, a blind social center. And I'm right in Gary. I had no clue it was there. January 7th, I walked into the doors of the blind social center. That was one of the most happiest days of my life, because when I walked through the doors, I knew I was at home. I met them both face to face. First, I had a one-on-one with Mrs. Blair. We clicked. like we had been knowing each other all our lives. Then she turned me over to Mr. Blair, and it was like it was a male version of myself. We connected. We had so much in common. We both we both on 10 when it comes to being silly, and we're both strong, and we know how to get through this thing that they call blindness. Well, to make my story a little bit shorter, I've been there since January the 7th, and I plan on not going anywhere. It's been the best few months of my life. Not only did Bosma teach me some things, but the Blairs have taught me some things too. I am their administrative assistant. I volunteer there. I love what I do, and the benefits are off the chain. And when I say the benefits, I have happiness that's complete. My joy is complete. And the patrons, I love them with all of me. When I walked through the door and I met the patrons, I could see the change that they have made. And it's such a good feeling to know that you've been a part of a change of something that's so positive. And I affectionately called them all caterpillars when I first got there. And now I say they're butterflies, because they're just all over the place and they're new people. And just to know that you had a part of that, that's the best. You can put a price on that.